The Wes Penre Papers. A Journey Through the Multiverse. The First Level of Learning. http://wespenre.com. Present and Future Challenges, PFC, Section. PFC Paper Number 7, More on Artificial Intelligence, Increased Longevity and Nano-Tech, The Path of the Gods. By Wes Penre, Thursday, July 7, 2011. The journey here is about self-discovery in relationship to others. Barbara Marciniak, Bringers of the Dawn, p.218. 1. Abstract, the fine balance between science and metaphysics. It is easy to get affected by others' viewpoints, in this case I mainly mean off-worldly, on how we should evolve and behave here on Earth, especially if there is a group which we feel is challenging us and put our feet to the fire. And how about if these off-worldly beings do this from a surprisingly emotionless state of mind? This will induce fear, even a certain sting of hopelessness, and these emotions may color our choices as a human race. I hear from both LPGC writer and researcher George Lobuono, Alex Collier and the Andromedons, and others, that the aliens more than once have threatened to interfere with our evolution if we don't shape up as a species and stop destroying our planet, ourselves and other planets and galaxies in the vicinity due to our misuse of negative energy. They have even thought of terminating us as a species. Author and researcher, George Lobuono, explains in his Alien Mind how civilizations go through different stages, and we are like adolescents now. It's a critical time in the history of mankind, because we are wobbling at the edge of the cliff and everybody out there is holding their breath if we're going to fall down or not. I can see how aliens are concerned over how we're going to handle the stage of our development, because our misuse of negative energy is alarming and our arrogance level high. Not only are we about to destroy our own species and our planet, but it will also affect other parts of the universe, as we, simplistically speaking, are borrowing energy from other parts of space in a balloon effect and thus deplete that space of energy without paying back. This will decrease the longevity of star systems and galaxies close to us, and in larger terms, when this is done by other civilizations as well, which it is, the longevity of the whole universe. So it's no wonder aliens are concerned and monitor us closely. If worse comes to worse, they may actually terminate us as a species if we don't learn our lessons, but save the living library otherwise and just start over, seeding a new species, perhaps. It would not be the first time. So it's all up to us. We can't blame everything on a global elite or even malevolent aliens behind the scenes. We ordinary humans are the majority and the responsibility is ours. I doubt we will be granted sovereignty of this planet if we can't even stand up for ourselves, and instead of coming together and stop being lazy, prefer to watch football games on TV. 1.1. Waking up the sleeping giant. It's time to wake up to reality, which here is defined as our joint current moment and what is happening around us at this present time, and how the choices we make now will directly affect our future. The reason we have been taken so much advantage of is solely because of our ignorance, sometimes self-inflicted. We don't want to hear no evil, nor see no evil, and it always kicks back on us. We can almost look at it as demon or entity possession on a grand, planetary scale. Where there is ignorance, fear, and low vibrations, entities come in and take advantage of the sleeping population. In this case we have different alien species fighting over dominion of Earth, the real estate and its inhabitants, even being able to do so without the knowledge of billions of people. This in itself can look like a discouraging situation, but it may only take a big shake-up to wake the sleeping giant, we humans. I am trying to wake the giant up before the shake-up will be too traumatic. Metaphorically speaking, if we think we can avoid a car accident to happen, why would we look the other way? Our impulse would be to help, wouldn't it? An accident is about to happen very soon, but we still can avoid it from happening. Albeit, what is planned for our future by forces whom might seem to have our best interest in mind, but don't, in my opinion, is no accident. There are those among us with a talent to convince the masses, who are wittingly, or unwittingly, attempting to steer us in a very dangerous direction. We are now talking about alien technology and artificial intelligence, AI. I don't mean that all alien technology is bad or dangerous. Some of it can be very helpful and something we may want to look into, but the danger lies in how it is used. We are already using lots of alien technology, mostly within the military-industrial complex, no surprise. Other is used by all of us on a daily basis. I am using it now. When I am writing this, I am using a computer and a word processor. Technology is neutral, it's not good nor evil, it's neutral. It won't do much unless there is a higher consciousness which programs it. So it depends on how it's programmed and what it's used for. But even that is Stone Age today. Our future, if certain factions of ETS and humans will have their way, is artificial intelligence and enhanced longevity, created with technology. These two goals are what we are mainly going to discuss in this paper. If we let certain scientists and their followers do as they please, where will it take us? I have mentioned elsewhere that science and religion, and metaphysics, need to merge for humanity to be whole and be able to move on, but that doesn't mean we need to adapt to any specific scientific idea out there, especially not the ones introduced, overtly or covertly, by the global elite and their alien masters. Science is the knowledge of the universe, who we are, our place in it, the goal of a universe, how universes are born and how they die, the fact that we are both physical and spiritual as one, what stars, planets, nebulae, and galaxies really are, and combine that knowledge with who we are on a sub-quantum, metaphysical level, and what the purpose is if we combine all this and realize that we are all one. When this is understood by mankind, we will be able to raise our vibrations above the current low and break the prison walls. Only those who can match our vibration will stay with us in our incrementally achieved new reality. The questions are, if the above are the goals, where does AI, nanotechnology, and other advanced physics and mechanics come into the picture? Do these technologies enhance our consciousness, or do they do the opposite? Will we use technology wisely? These are very important questions that we need to discuss on a serious level. 2. The codes of consciousness. Things are going to be tough in the next few years for all of us. Some of it are staged events by ETS and their human cohorts, while other events are natural cycles of the cosmos. People will be highly affected in many different ways, and it's up to us how we are going to react. Those who have been prepared by doing their homework will have an easier time, while those who chose to remain ignorant are in for a big shock. This is a great opportunity for certain forces in the ET science community to come forward and offer solutions. The most amazing scientific new discoveries will be presented to humanity in an apparent effort to assist the situation. But of course it comes with a price, and I'm not only talking about money. There are these ET factions who want us to be dependent on technology, and many of our brightest minds here on Earth are supporting and working furiously on it. I can't help but stress enough what I personally don't believe in, and that is to be part of any future super-technological society. It's a trap. Instead, go inside yourself. Other programs will open up, which are currently sealed away. They are codes of consciousness, and there are things firing off these codes. From here on, things are going to happen rapidly, and catalysts in the environment, whether it's planetary events, or off-worldly by friendly ETS, will take consciousness on this planet to a totally new level. Those who go with the flow will find themselves on an island where the storm doesn't hit, no earthquakes reach and no hurricanes blow. Who will do this for us? No one but ourselves. We have this encoded inside of us, we are just waiting for these codes to activate and to be fired off, one by one, like a series of firework. But will everybody be ignited? Yes, everybody to a different degree. However, those who receive the changes with fear and anxiety will misinterpret what is happening and the codes may misfire and backflash. It's imperative, whether you agree with this or not, to set your goals to reach higher consciousness. I am painfully aware of that it's still not for everybody, and that is okay. Some humans want to continue experiencing the third density/dimension reality and go through all the hardship and continue into the machine world on the other end, and that is their choice. I know I wouldn't like it one bit, and my solutions papers will reflect this and tell you why. This time is about connecting with the cosmos and become multidimensional again. Most of those who have worked towards this goal have a subtle feeling that we have experienced this high in consciousness before, but we can't put our fingers on it. It's flashing up like a buried cell memory and then goes away. If you have had this flashback, it's one of many signs that you are starting to connect, because we certainly have been multidimensional before here on Earth, but we were tampered with by more than one species, by those who either wanted to create a slave race out of us, or by those who saw our potentials and wanted to take advantage of it and use it for their own survival. There are about 7 billion people on the planet right now, and that is just the right amount. We will not see an increase of people to 8 to 9 billions and beyond. We have more or less reached the maximum amount of people this planet will probably ever see. This is not an accident but per design. Everybody alive right now chose to be born into these times because of a tremendous group agreement that we made before we incarnated here in the so-called end times. All of us, no matter what we think, are either here to help raising the consciousness of the species and of the planet, or to just be here to feel it out of curiosity. Not everybody will make it through 2012, and you will see many people exit before then, often unexpectedly. This, too, is no accident. There are those who wanted to participate in this mass event, but not be part of the 2012 wave we will talk about later. Still, we are all here to help out one way or the other. We need this amount of people, 7 billion, to pull it off. It's the numbers that count for us to be able to create a new Earth. It's all about connecting energy. Be happy you have a body right now and take good care of it, because you are lucky to be here. There are lots of discarnate beings who wanted to be part of this as well, but not everybody gets a chance to have a body during the nanosecond. If you have one, feel fortunately you can't evolve without it. 3. How new alien technology will be introduced, creating split of the human race. We will see much more new alien technologies being released. Not all of them at once, but it will be done, step by step. Before we go on, we need to understand that when we're talking about science, there are different kinds. We have A. Mainstream science, B. Secret, or occult, science, C. Alien science, which includes Nikola Tesla science, that may be thousands of years ahead of mainstream science. D. Rogue science. Science is based on theory. Then it's up to the scientists to prove these theories. If it can be proven and replicated over and over, we have proven fact. This is how science has been working for hundreds of years, but now, when they are starting to look into smaller and smaller particles and enter the realm of quantum physics and mechanics, nothing is consistent anymore. You can't use the same formula to prove or disprove a theory, because everything is fluid, moving, and changing attributes and behavior. Moreover, quantum physics often has a tendency to prove old, solid science wrong. Nothing is black or white, and this is a huge problem for scientists. How can anything be proven anymore? What was true yesterday is not true today. Everything changes so rapidly, and if we are stuck in old, outdated thinking and behavior, our lives are going to be very dysfunctional, even if it worked okay not so long ago. However, in all this chaos, there will be fixes. High-tech enterprises will come out with technologies that can put some stability to the chaos. But these fixes have everything to do with the machine kingdom, which is planned to be introduced incrementally here on Earth until people get used to it and incorporate it into their lives step by step. We will see PhDs or authoritarian researchers/writers who promote this new kingdom as a solution for mankind, and many people will agree and follow. I will say there will soon be a split in mankind, and this has to do with the new technology. There will be those who go for it, and those who choose not to be part of it. Machines will blend with humans so that they will become part machine and part human. This is of course not real to many people today, but is nevertheless what is planned, which I will show. This is nothing new. There are ETs out there who have already fallen into this kind of reality by their own doing or had others do it to them. Now they are trying to implement this on humanity as well. Later on we will discuss why this is introduced. For now, control over consciousness may be a clue. The imposters, who want to introduce what we call artificial intelligence, AI, into society know how to do it. Just like with everything else they have introduced, which is for their gain and our loss, it follows a certain formula that seems to work on us humans most of the time. And with the risk of repeating myself here, this formula is based on fear. The formula itself is quite known to people who have looked into how the global elite work. It goes, problem reaction solution. In other words, to be able to end up with a solution which benefits you when you know that people in general would object to your proposal is to instigate a problem big enough to create a reaction among the general population and a demand to do something about it. Then you can introduce the solution to the problem you created in the first place, and the population will, due to fear of loss and perhaps reluctantly at first, adjust accordingly and accept your solution, and you get what you want. This formula, however, needs to be calculated precisely, because the problem created has to be in proportion to the solution you want to achieve. For instance, if the problem is too small, people may not think that the solution is worth it. A perfect example of this calculated, well-balanced formula, for those who haven't seen through this yet, is the 9/11 attack on the Twin Towers. The global elite commits a mass murder which traumatizes the whole nation. The media do their part and start feeding off the fear, saying that this can happen again, anywhere, anyplace, and anywhen. No one knows where the terrorists will hit next. So, here we have a problem, which was created, and we have the reaction, and now we can introduce the solution, which is a much tighter security and surveillance system. We live in an Orwellian 1984, Big Brother society, and many people welcome it out of fear from what would happen if they wouldn't. It works like a clock. So, if someone wants to steer us into a new direction, going towards a machine society and an acceptance of AI, it has to be done in increments. Hence, the imposters use what they have, and again feed off human emotions. Problem: young men and women go to war to fight for their country, which is another lie, and get their arms and legs shot off in the process. The media bring up the problem and run random stories of soldiers being severely wounded at war and how it affects them and their families. Reaction: people feel for the soldiers and their families and wish everything could be all right. Solution: the soldier gets a new prosthetic and joins up again. Of course, he has to pass the test, running so many miles with a heavy backpack etc., and he does it. This brave soldier, who doesn't give up fighting for what he/she thinks is right, can do so with this fantastic new technology. This is a story from real life, and it was brought up in the media last fall. So this is what technology has come to, and of course it's just the technology that has been released. There is so much more they haven't showed us yet. The moral of this story, though, has not so much to do with the soldier as how it affects our subconscious mind. We think that if they can fix up a soldier like that and he'll be as good as new, it's comforting in case we need prosthetics and artificial body parts ourselves in the future in order to survive. This is how they seduce us. It's like saying implants are good on babies, because they can't be stolen at the hospitals. And who is stealing the babies? Many of them are stolen by secret organizations to be used, either as sex slaves, breeders, mind-controlled assassins and more. So again, the solution is presented after first have created a problem. Many people chip their pets so they can be easily found, and it is a good thing in this particular sense, but when used on humans, there are darker agendas behind it, such as lowering people's vibrations, controlling your thoughts and behavior and much more. The machines can't come in without you, but after a while they don't need you. The Pleiadians. What we're going to end up with if we don't face the agenda behind this is that we will have machines that are many, many times smarter than we are. Isaac Asimov's old novel, I, Robot is not so far-fetched after all. Of course, being a world-famous sci-fi writer, he knew what he was writing about. Speaking of robots, what could be better, if you want to create a certain future, than to influence our kids and program them from early age? Brilliant! And that's of course exactly what is being done. How about robots as problem solvers? Cool, hey, children? Here is merely one example out of many how our young kids are being manipulated via cartoons, video games, and TV. How about a life inside a video game? This is where parents' responsibility is so important. By choosing to stay ignorant, parents must be held accountable for the programming of our children. Those who don't educate themselves and their children are just as responsible as the powers that be, who program them. Especially today, when there is so much information available, parents should know better. Instead, many parents turn a blind eye because it's convenient to let the kids play with electronics and watch movies which control their minds. Due to the lack of responsibility and interest in educating their kids, people, especially of the next generation, will be very excited and thrilled over all the new technology that is introduced, while others don't want to have anything to do with it. That's where the major split is going to happen. For those who choose the latter, what is happening in the machine world will be a perfect catalyst for them to really take the step, leave the functional insanity behind, and go back to nature and build new, small communities at first, which will grow in size, and join together as this develops. The fans of the machine technology will move into bigger cities where they can enjoy the new technology. It may feel fantastic at first when your needs are taken care of and you get the medical attention necessary, but you have to be chipped and you will soon become part machine. Eventually you need to plug yourself in to even start functioning, and you will connect to a virtual reality that is built on machine technology, a matrix within the matrix within the matrix. How far down the rabbit hole do we want to sink? Some may argue and say that the global elite and those behind them will not allow the rest to reject their machine society, but they will have no choice. It's all about vibration. Those choosing the machine world will do so because of underlying fear. They believe, whether they are aware of it or not, that by introducing higher developed technology into their lives, they have better chances of survival. However, it's only superficial and this whole agenda fills a much bigger purpose. If the machine followers knew, and were willing to face their hidden fears, and clearly see what is really behind it and what the end goal is, they wouldn't be so thrilled. Those who choose not to participate will create their own, much less technologically based societies in their local universes and build their multidimensionality where it should be built, in biological bodies close to nature. The forces whose imperatives are to take over always feed off fear, and when I say feed I mean it in all its definitions. Beings of lower vibrations, whether they are human or not, are psychic vampires, and they get stronger by using the busy fear energy and enhance their own, in a large degree negatively oriented, energy field. It's food, and their survival depends on it. But what about space travel? Don't we want to be part of the galactic community and travel between the stars? Yes, we do, and we will. There are many ways to travel between the stars. It can be done with or without technology, or with minimal technology. Some aliens travel in 3D spaceships, using Einstein-Rosen bridges to go from one place to another, perhaps million light years away. Others use their avatars, or light bodies, while their 3D bodies are still left on the original planet. Others have the power to bring their original bodies with them. There are multiple ways to travel intergalactically. Also, I am not saying we are not going to use technology to travel. Technology in itself is not bad, it's only if it's used to manipulate and control that it is bad. However, before we even go there, we need to create a new world, a totally new society built on a higher frequency and level of understanding life and the universe. When we can do that, we can start thinking about space travel, and perhaps even time travel. Our environment, and how we use the technology we feel we need is in direct ratio to our level of consciousness. Which level of consciousness is TV, Twitter, text messaging, video games, Facebook addiction? Think about it. Some say we should be looking at a middle way, which would be the way to go, by using technology wisely, and that would all be fine and dandy, if we as a humanity were high enough in frequency to break out of the frequency fence we're currently stuck in and are all able to see what is done to us, presently. If we can't do that, we are going to see a split of humanity to begin with, there is no third way. 4. Protecting our biology. 250,000 to 300,000 years ago, our biology was hijacked. We were successfully cut off from the higher dimensions and densities and put in a frequency band which glued us, more or less, to the third density. Our DNA was tampered with in such a way that the whole Living Library project came to a definite halt and has been on hold ever since, as the new owners of this planet changed the policies. They were only interested in a slave race who could do the dirty work for them. We have been their slaves in one way or the other ever since. To call it something else would be false, and the arrogance with which they were, and still are, treating us is overpowering at best. Our responsibility now is to get back on track and not let anybody else own our biology to further develop a machine race or by genetically tamper with us again behind our backs to create new hybrids for new, updated purposes. And don't believe for a second that this is not already happening. The Greys are a perfect example of this, and human traders are working in secret bases such as Area 51 and others to create a new hybrid species. Our own human global elite and those who support them on lower levels have been working very hard the last decades or more to create this in conjunction with bands of different ETS. Many of us have listened to the whistleblowers and perhaps even seen some pictures of scary-looking hybrids in test tubes, being developed deep down in underground facilities, far from scrutiny, if it wasn't for the whistleblowers. This is not science fiction, it is happening on a grand scale as we speak. The good news is that we are supported on our quest to free ourselves from hundreds of thousands of years of slavery. Not all aliens have imperatives that clash with ours. In fact, most aliens, in terms of species agreements, imperatives, are here to help and assist in one way or the other. Like the Pleiadians say, cosmos is not malevolent, it's benign. The multiverse is there to guide you live in a friendly and supportive universe. They go on saying that there is of course those who want to manipulate us and work against our development as a species, and control us, but they are way fewer in numbers than those who would accept us with open arms. The Pleiadians are one of the latter, the Guardian Alliance another. Still, none of them are here to do the work for us while we're sitting on our behinds. It's up to us to do the work. I am going to discuss in details what this work includes later on, and the reason why I want to wait is because there are others, who want to push another solution on mankind, which I don't agree with. I want to present them side by side so to speak, so the reader can distinguish and make a conscious decision in what direction you want to go. In this space and time there are many forces from the cosmos, dimensionally, interdimensionally, from inner Earth, from the surface, other galaxies and even other universes, who pay interest in our development, because the Living Library is unique, the idea is unique. This can seem very overwhelming and overpowering for our limited ways of thinking to comprehend and meet without fear, but that's exactly what we need to do. To many, it will seem like a hopeless situation, because this group has this agenda, and that group has that agenda, while a third group, it seems like there's no end. However, when it really comes down to it, it really doesn't matter. We need to evolve in spite of these forces, learn who we are and how to raise our vibration and recognize the fear and anxiety within us, and learn to master these emotions and not tune into the vibrations that go along with these lower vibrations. Not until then can we break out from the frequency fence we're stuck inside. Even if it's not pleasant, we need to know what's out there, what the imperatives of certain ET groups are to be able to understand who we really are in this organized chaos, and then take appropriate, peaceful steps away from the battleground. Instead of taking sides in any given battle, we simply walk away and do our own thing, knowing the battle rages somewhere, but it's no longer part of our own local universe. That's our first step. 5. The Internet versus the Internet. Marciniak's Pleiadians are very clear. Over and over again, they emphasize how dangerous our electronic devices are, everything from cell phones and TVs to the Internet. They encourage us not to waste our time, and stop letting our lives depend on electronics. They would like to see us throw our cell phones away, only using computers minimally, if at all, and instead of letting Google be our all-knowing God, we need to go to our internet instead of the internet for answers, the internet being our inner knowledge, our inner Google. We have all the answers inside, because we are part of all that is, of God's source, if you will. We need to start believing in ourselves and listen to our inner voice or intuition for answers. However, as long as we are addicted to electronics, yes, it is an addiction worse than heroin, we will not be able to reconnect with our internet. This can only be successfully done in full when being in nature. We need to stay grounded in our bodies to become multidimensional. It's not a matter of leaving our bodies to seek enlightenment, the bodies are our guides and helpers. When we're talking about multidimensionality, we don't mean that we should become multi-D, we are multi-D. Not only our souls, but our bodies are multidimensional bodies. We use our bodies as extended nerve endings, and the 12 strand of DNA, representing each of the 12 chakras, is our ticket into the multiverse. Very few people on this planet know what their bodies can do. Here on Earth, at worst, we think that our bodies are us, and when our bodies die, we die, or at best, our bodies are our vessels, so that personality, mind, and spirit, us, can experience things in the third-dimensional physical reality. Still, the body is so much more than that. It has a wonderful cellular memory, it has soul memory and can be used for time and space travel in ways totally unheard of by most humans. Life is all about experiencing and learning in the reality where we incarnate. Although we were tampered with in a not-so-constructive way, our goal is to enhance the power in our bodies by reconnecting our dormant DNA, from 2 strands to 12 strands, which is what is currently occurring. On the other hand, the Pleiadians say that electronics could be used in a way that's not harmful, but the way we're using it now, in the hands of the wrong people, it is very destructive, all the way down to a cellular level. By introducing these technologies to our kids at an early age, we help setting the stage for them to meet their own demise in a not too far away future. Again, welcome to the machine kingdom, where illusion and deception are the names of the game, and the consequences are devastating. Our task is not to turn this around and start using electronics more responsibly, but again to step out of it altogether and develop our internet. It's like when you leave a lit-up house in the middle of the night and go outside, it takes a while before your eyes get used to the dark and you can see the stars. Still, the more time you spend away from any artificial light, the more stars, nebulae, and galaxies you can distinguish. Not until we have totally withdrawn from electronics can we appreciate nature and the elements again, and it takes some adjustment. At this juncture we have no other choice, and I don't say that in the sense that it would mean something necessary evil, but as part of a new, exciting journey. I used to live with nature all the time when I was younger, so I developed a very close relationship with it. I talked to the birds, the squirrels, the butterflies, the trees, and expected them to return my communication. And they did. I thanked Mother Earth for letting me take part of all her beauty and magic. When you are able to connect with your environment, realizing that it is all a part of you, and everything is unconditional love on a higher level of existence, life becomes very rich and fulfilling, and that to me is true happiness. I am still doing this on a smaller scale, hindered by work, research, and writing, currently, but that will hopefully change soon. In all honesty, I have never been happier than when I was living with nature. With that said, let's explore further the other side of the coin, the upcoming machine technology, our possible parallel future.